All right. Ladies and gentlemen, inside Steppin family, I want to thank y'all for bearing with us just a little bit. Just running a little bit behind schedule this evening, only because we had some slight technical difficulties, but we have managed to work through them for now. You know, it's always something. Y'all know how it go. Well, look, y'all, let me just start out because we're not going to dilly-dally tonight. Look, in the past, we have had some incredible individuals to bless this show by coming in and hanging out with us and just, helping us to straighten out this history and get some clarity about all things Steppin. And I have been lucky enough to help to be a part of that journey. And I cannot tell y'all how important it is and has been to me for these things to take place. Now, I said all of that to say this. Out of those fantastic people that we've had on this show over the years, I think tonight we have reached, and I don't know, I'm trying not to, I don't want to overdo it because I don't want to get beat up, but tonight I believe, y'all, we have reached the pinnacle. We are going to reach the pinnacle of what it means to have individuals on this show who make Steppin what it is. Y'all, tonight we have none other than the Godfather of Steppin, the man who coined the phrase Steppin. We're going to get that story, by the way. And who has helped to keep Steppin alive, when Steppin was on life support, this is the man that gave it breath. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you none other than the man, the myth, the real legend, the Godfather of Steppin, my man, DJ Sam Chatman. Sam,
thank you
what's
very
good?
Much, thank you, and I'm happy to be here.
Listen, I'm ecstatic to have you. Real talk. It don't get no better than this for me. I'm gonna just tell you right now, boss. Sam,
I'm ready to go to work, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Y'all heard that, Steppers? Say it again, Sam. Steppers.
I'm ready to go to work.
You ready to go to work? That's right.
Yes.
We ready to put it on the wood, y'all.
Let's do it.
All right. So Sam, I'm gonna start because my producer, she had some specific questions, some things that she wanted to know before we get into the real meat and potatoes. Can you give our audience some idea about your history in regard to when did you first start DJing?
You know what? I'm not a year guy. So some people, they come up with years. They try to put a year with my age and stuff. I don't even get into age because I don't remember. But now I started working for CTA, Brian, in 1965. I was DJing maybe 2 or 3 years before then. So I'm looking at 62, 61, 62, 63, somewhere in that area.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing within itself, seeing as how I was born in 65.
Wow.
So yeah.
From now on, call me Mr. Chatman, but go ahead.
Hey, I tried that. You got on me about that.
Yeah,
so remember
I don't play that Mr. stuff, but go ahead.
I know. Well, I address most people who know me, a lot of people from the show and, around the Steppin community. I tend to address people by Mr. That's just like a kind of a natural habit of mine. Even my man Nike, I call him Mr. Nike.
That's ain't no problem.
So you obviously have been around you've been DJing long as I've been alive, which is incredible within itself. And you're still going strong. I want to ask you, what year was it when, or better yet, I'm gonna let you give me the background because, you hear stories and people tell you things and everybody has their own version of what they believe went on and happened in the Steppers world. But when they went from the bop or the high bop and the different bops to Steppin, around what time was that? I know you say you don't do years, but for the sake of knowledge for the community, Can you give us an idea of when that took place and what was the background on it?
I'm guessing, I would say 68, 69, maybe 70, and early 70s. Now, and what happened was, see, the seniors, the older steppers, not necessarily seniors, but the older steppers, people in their 30s and 40s, they were bopping. And when we started giving high school parties, it was a totally different step. And we just started using the phrase stepping, and then we started hanging posters saying, stepping at the such and such a place or stepping at the such and such a place. And it just exploded from that. And then when the older steppers start seeing the younger steppers, the footwork, the spins and the turns, they was like, man, I like this, and they wanted to get into it. There were a lot of seniors, I'm talking about senior citizens, who went to people like uh, Dre Blackwell and Donnie Davis to learn how to dance all over again because they couldn't do those turns and spins and whatever and the footwork. So I would say late 60s, early 70s, they beginning to ease away from quote unquote bopping. And Brian, you got to also remember there are a lot of people today still bopping, but they want to step, but they just couldn't get away from that bopping thing. So it's been a while.
Yeah, I think so. I think really like the people who bop tend to be, well, not just the older generations, because like I tell people, my personal history. When I began stepping, it was probably about 1976 or 77, 76 I think it was. I was probably 11 years old, and like most young people, we started bopping with family. Because
Hmm.
that was what the family did, and and you learn that the first thing we learned was the kick, cross, cross. So
Hmm.
when these, as we've I guess transitioned with the dance, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I want to ask you, in terms of what we are seeing today, how do you feel about the way the dance has transitioned from what was happening in the 70s, all through the 70s, up to the early 80s, and then it has turned into now something that even looks a little different. Although it's the same dance, it looks a little different than, say, the stepping from bopping.
I love it.
Okay.
I envisioned this happening. I know in 1991, Emily McKendall, if you ever look at that first DVD that Pete Frazier and the Majestic Gents and uh, um, Johnny Davis and a few other guys did, she interviewed me and she asked me specifically. This is in 90 or 91, and I'm not sure of the year. Where did I think stepping was going? And I specifically said, stepping hasn't even scratched the surface yet. I envision stepping being what it is today and even greater. Uh, Fortunately for people like me, I don't travel the country because I don't fly a lot. I drive everywhere I go. But people like
Yeah,
Pete
I heard that
Frazier,
about you.
yeah, yeah, they I don't like to fly. But anyway, people like Pete Frazier and Dre Blackwell, and I'm using them as an example. They go around the country promoting stepping. So what has happened is that I see stepping. You asked me a specific question. I love what I see. I love the dance. I love watching people dance. Uh, and the only thing I can say is I love everything that I see now. That when you start talking about history, that's another story. But everybody that you talk to, Brian, I'm sure, is an authority on something. So
Absolutely.
90% of these people have they wasn't there, but they claim they were there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I love what I see.
Yeah. We get a lot of that. I've listened to stories from people who have, in my best estimation, made up things about their inclusion and their participation and their the part that they've supposedly put into the game, and you find that a lot of it is just not true, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate because I don't understand why people feel such a need to make up stuff to be relevant.
Let me just say this too. I don't need a person to approach me and tell me, especially if I know them, that I'm a legend in this game. We know who
Ooh,
the legends are. Okay,
ooh,
I don't need a person that, and I'm constantly bombarded with people coming up to me telling Sam, tell this guy, man, I'm a legend. And I said,
wow,
well, that's what you say you are. That's what you are.
wow.
But I hear that constantly, and 90% of here's another amazing thing. When we first started giving sets, most of our events, Brian, was with the earliest part of stepping was high school parties, and we transitioned from high school parties under 21 to the adult steppers, and the older steppers would come to our events, and they would just stand there in a total amazement because they couldn't do this footwork, they couldn't do the splits and turns and whatever. They would be amazed. And I want to mention that again when I talk about the first world's largest steppers contest.
Well, uh, you know, it's funny you say that because we've had some situations as of late where a lot of people, and it's something that I heard, and it was kind of disheartening when I hear people who call themselves authorities. Like you said, I've talked to plenty of people who think they're authorities on this, and they say things like, "We don't do that anymore." When they talk about the footwork and those type of things, and thankfully, people like Josiah Burt and Tony Bowen have pointed out it's not that uh, we don't do it; it's that most of y'all can't do it.
Yeah, thank you
Sam,
very much.
give us some idea. I mean, to get an audience an idea of what it was like back in those days when cats was really in there on some serious stepping, and it was a battle dance, and they was really doing footwork, and that was the dance versus what we seeing today.
And and a lot of people talk about Sam Chatman's early steppers contest. They were, you just said the key word, Brian. They were battle contests. Uh, I knew who you could come to a set. I knew who the best dancers were. I would not have nothing to do with the judging or picking the winner of these contests. We had, I'm using an example. We had Little Alfred, Taboo, George Macaroni. These guys were they were in. Little Alfred was a ballet dancer on a steppers floor. I mean, the thing that he did was just incredible. In the first world's largest, they put on a show that could never be duplicated. I mean, in my mind, it could never. So these guys, they weren't contests. They were, these early contests. We had one at we would do the Sheba, the Dungeon, the Keyman's Club, High Chaparral, Burning Spear, Richland Club. These were battles, and what was so beautiful about it? At the end of the contest, everybody would embrace each other and hug and congratulate the person that came in second, third, the winner. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Man, yeah, you said a mouthful right there because we don't see that kind of camaraderie, unfortunately, in a lot of cases these days. People walk away with attitudes and some more stuff. Tony Bowen said, don't forget little Mike."
No, excuse me, little Mike, little Taboo, a little Alfred. They were Little Alfred probably was one of the most creative dancers I ever seen. Little Alfred was just.
You know what? I'm glad
George,
you said creative because it's funny. Like now, because of the way the dance is being taught, you see so many people who look so much alike when they dance. There was a huge difference in the way people made the dance their own back in those days. Can you tell us? Can you kind of give us a little more about that? From
well,
then
yeah,
till now.
well, that's a hell of a point you just made the dance their own. When you saw George Macaroni dance, George Macaroni, I didn't realize George Macaroni was down there 300 pounds. George Mac was a
Big
big
dude.
guy, but light on his feet. Let me give you another big guy that was 300 and some pounds. Bus Stop Calling Charlie Green, world class dancer. Donald Fox, big guy. These guys were they were like ballet dancers. When you consider them the style, and they made the dance their own. We just had the passing of Ty Skippy a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
Ty Skippy had some of the fastest footwork you ever seen in your life. They made there were certain things that they could do that nobody else could do, and not only that, not only could do, nobody else would even try.
Right. Because you sure would look like you was trying to copy them.
Oh man, no question, no question. And
Yeah.
and even today, there are guys who took this dance and made it their own. And I'll mention some of those guys' names a little later on in the conversation. But they made the dance their own, and they are. Can you imagine? I've been around this dance from the beginning, and there are some guys I just love to watch, just sit and watch them dance because they're inspiring. And that's the only word I can use when I watch them. Inspiring. There are several guys like that, and not only guys. Now, please, because I'm a man. There are ladies who are just as bad.
Yeah. Now, that's one thing that I personally am making a pledge to myself and to my audience in the very near future. We're going to start featuring some of these women because they do not get the recognition that they deserve. Because there was plenty of women who were just as cold on the set, and you don't hear their names enough
Ice
or at
cold.
all.
That's right, ice cold. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be looking forward to a lot of that stuff. Sam, give us some idea, because one of the things that I stay on about, because I'm a baby in the DJ game, but I've had some pretty good mentors. Tell us just how important music is to this dance, and kind of the origins of what, because so there are people who say that's steppers music or not steppers music, and then they say, well, there's not no such thing as steppers music, but there's only music that you can step to. Can you give us a little insight on what your thoughts are about that?
Yes, I can. It is an incredible feel that Brian. There are some nights when I'd hear a song and I couldn't sleep until I got to a party. I mean, I tossed and turned. I couldn't wait to present it to the step. I felt it in my heart that this was a great song and that steppers would love it. I couldn't wait to get to an event so I could play it and see the response or the reaction of the dancers. The music, anyone that would tell me that music is not music, it's all about the music, sir. To me, it's all about the music, and then I hate to say this, but it's all about the music and then the dance. The DJ has to select. He has to select the right kind of music now. But see, the bottom line is we don't never know until we actually test this. Give you an example. When 50 Cent made in the club hip hop songs, hard hitting. I heard it and I freaked. I just couldn't wait to get to an event so I could play it. I just knew they were going to love it. But then there are some natural songs. When R. Kelly made Steppin' in the Name of Love, perfect. When I hear, give you an example, I take credit for introducing to the Steppers community the Ebony's Life in the Country because they gave me the album. I take credit for introducing Pathway to Glory by Loggins and Messina because I introduced it. I can just go on and name songs. It's a certain song, but it starts with the music and then it passed on to the dancers. Now the dancers gotta love it, but it starts with the music. I'm listening to the Temptations album right now, 60 years later, and they got music on that that's unbelievable.
Right, absolutely.
Now
there are people who talk about, like, for example, it's like you have basically kind of touched on an idea that Steppin's music was kind of like a discovery. Like you heard certain songs and you just knew they were meant to be. They were meant to be Steppers cuts. So for my audience, let me just say this to y'all out there. You heard what the man just said. Life in the Country. That's one of our staple songs for Steppin. You just heard where it got introduced to the Steppin world right here from Sam Chatman, y'all. So the thing is this, when we listen to a lot of this music and we play this music, I think a lot of people don't realize that the stuff that we stepped to, especially back then, was not mainstream music.
No, it wasn't.
People they don't know, like you got younger people who don't even know what the B-sides mean. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about that?
Well, now I remember Herb Kent, we just opened up a new club called the Dating Game. It was an old dating game, then the new dating. Herb Kent came to me and said, Herb Kent, a legendary Chicago DJ, I want to start playing Steppers music. So he came, he said, I need you to come and teach me. I said, Herb, I said, you already have everything that we play. You just don't know what it is. So what I did was I brought Herb Kent into the dating game on Saturday afternoon. I went down there and I marked off all of his, the classic Temptations album, uh, uh, Dramatics, whoever the artist was. I checked off every record on there that he called it B-sides that they weren't playing, but we were playing at the Stepper set. So and then Brian, you remember also they wasn't making records designed for stepping then, back in the 70s and 80s, even the 90s. Then Marzette Griffin and a few other people came along and they started tailoring music for steppers. Cordell, I'm using them as an example. Marzette and Cordell as an example. And calling it steppers music and a steppers song. And you know what? It popped just like I knew it would. I asked the Whispers to do a Steppers CD, and they didn't have any idea what I was talking about. I asked James Brown the same thing, and he didn't know what I was talking. What do you mean stepping? So they didn't know anything about this music, but we didn't let that. I'm talking about the DJ. We didn't let that discourage us. We just kept on pushing because I knew, and I'm sure there were other DJs. They knew that one day it would get to this point where artists would design their music specifically for steppers. I don't know any of those. If I mean personally, I don't. And first of all, I tell all of my DJs and my proteges that I train, do not ever mention old music around Sam Chatman because there is this. Think about this. I just mentioned the Temptations. 60 years after Smokey Robinson wrote their first record, they still turning out super music. There's no such thing as old music. You know, old what? Excuse me. The music is absolutely tired. You can never get tired of playing Luther Vandross, Smokey Robinson, Hal Melvin, the Blue Note, and these gentlemen are, they deceased. So I'm playing music occasionally on my radio show on the FM Omni channel, which by the way, on Saturday, Sunday I play a doo wop from the 50s, and people and the response is unbelievable. To me, I don't know anything about old music because music to me is timeless.
That's right. Well, I agree with you. Some music is just timeless, and it's because there are days when I stand up here myself in my own studio, man, and I start playing certain music, and I just, it takes me away. It's a feeling that you're supposed to have. And I think that's partly what drove a lot of the steppers to the sets back in those times. The music was everything. It was all about that music and the feeling that it gave you when you hit that floor, when you was on that wood. So, and I mean, it should be that way today. It's the same thing. It is for me anyway. Certain songs, I can't sit down. I got to get up.
On that same note, you mentioned about DJs saying they won't do it. Brian, when I made an announcement, I passed out flyers, 10,000 flyers a month, advertising the fact that if you came to Sam Chatman's party, that I was going to play nothing but steppers music. Now, all the DJs I mentored, trained, et cetera, they laughed at me and said, "This guy's crazy." They actually said that this guy is crazy. What do you mean he ain't gonna play nothing but steppers? Ain't nobody gonna dance to that old. And some people ran into some of my ex-proteges, and they said, "Where's Sam Chatman?" And they said, "Oh, he's over at Purve's house. This is 1978. He's over at Purve's house playing that old music and standing room only at Purve's house in 1978." By the way, let me emphasize that too. And everything that I did during that era, all the sets were standing room only.
Well, and it's funny you say that too, because here we are in a time where I don't think a lot of people realize the sacrifices that were made, and all the jokes and the laughing. And I've told people on this show, and I'll say it, I say it all the time. If somebody had told me in the late 70s and early 80s that people would be getting paid to teach this dance and we would be doing all the things that we're doing right now, I would have laughed in your face, literally. So I understand. And so
Yeah.
I'm saying that to say that we're at a place now in this dance where it has progressed in incredible ways, and I'm happy that we're where we are. So I definitely understand and can relate to people not understanding it. But tell us about how really you were able, almost single-handedly to some degree, keep Steppin alive. You gave some legendary sets, man. You gave, you kept this thing in between in between the lines and didn't let it go in the ditch.
Well, first of all, I go back to the word music again. I
Mm-hmm.
love Smokey. I love the Temptations. I was uh, Supreme, Stevie Wonder. I love that Motown song, and then I love the local guys.
Mm-hmm.
There was a group here called the Radiants. Uh, the the local, a lot of local Curtis Mayfield. I mean, I say I loved them. I love Jerry Butler. I loved them with a passion. But it was strictly about the music. I love that music, and it wasn't easy now for me
Mm-hmm.
to do this, Brian. Don't get me, because like I
Oh.
said, I was ridiculed. I was laughed at. I was the
Wait a minute,
brunt
hold on,
of.
hold on. Before you go, look, you said to me the other night when we talked, because I was talking about how tough it is with this thing sometimes, and you told me it ain't never been easy, and it's always been difficult. So go ahead.
Honest, think about it. When Mary Green, that's the lady. Mary Green is the lady that does the Black X Woman's Expo now.
Right.
Mary Green was in charge of promotions at B103. When Mary Green, Kenny B was the DJ. I know you remember Kenny B. Thompson.
Yeah.
He was the DJ that started the Saturday Night Dustin stuff. When they went to Kenny B wasn't the most easiest guy to get along with. So he
Mm-hmm.
suggested to Mary Green that you go to Sam Chatman, and Sam Chatman will help you do the world's largest. So when I had my first meeting with Mary Green, she said, "We've been advertising this thing for a year." And I said, "How many contestants are here?" She said, "We don't have any." I said, "Well, how much money are you giving away?" I think it was around 20,000. I said, 20,000 and you don't have none. Well,
And
they didn't know
right,
how to promote.
something
They
wrong with
didn't know
that
how,
picture.
they didn't know how to promote it. I said, give me all. They gave me the applications, the flyers. I took everything. I said, you will in 2 weeks you'll have more contestants than you need. Mary Green called me on Friday. She said a week later, she said, "What are you doing?" She said, "The phone is they done tied up the switchboard. These people calling." I said, $20,000. We've never
They
had a
found out
twenty
about
thousand
that purse.
that's look. So what happened was, as we got it going, everything was looking like it was going to be a winner. As a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, Mary Green invited me down to the hotel somewhere on Michigan. I forgot the name. It was too small. I went down there and took a look at it. I called her. I said, what is this? She said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, Sam, we only giving away da da da." I said, "Mary Green, the place is not large enough." Anyway, make a long story short, we had the contest, and I'm leading up to that question you asked me. We had the contest that particular day. There was so many people. There was not enough seats in the building. So Mary Green said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "Let me handle." I went out in the lobby. I made an announcement to everybody. "I'll let y'all in." Now the place is packed already, standing room only.
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I'll let y'all in if y'all sit on the floor." Mary Green said, "You had told them what?" I came back in and told her what I told them. They sit on the floor and line up around the ballroom.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, the event turned out to be so successful, so successful. The next year, there were several social clubs, and I would love to call their name, but I'm not. I'm not going to embarrass. They went to Mary Green and said, "You gave Sam Chatman too much power. You let him run.
Oh,
He shouldn't
is
run.
that
Wait a minute
right?
now, yeah. You shouldn't let him run things like that." They were trying to boycott me and do all kind of personal things to me,
Yeah.
and look, and you know what? None of it worked. And so the word got out, Brian. Here's the funny story.
Uh-huh.
That Sam Chatman, because a lot of my steppers, the people that patronized me, was in the contest. He's going to play all the good music for his people and play lousy music for us. That was the word that spread everywhere. And you know what I did? I couldn't figure out what I was going to do. I didn't figure it out till I got to the set. I got to the first world's largest step. I played 3 records all day. I opened with uh, uh, Johnny Lytle, the man. I switched from that to Eddie Kendrick's Body Talk, and I went from that to the Whispers bingo, and nobody complained. She said, "You're gonna play what?" I said, "I'm gonna play 3 all day, and that'll eliminate the conversation." Now,
Nah.
I mentioned earlier that I introduced body talk to this Steppers, and I introduced bingo. I actually introduced her. So the ridicule and the criticism I got from these was Steppers groups now. Now we getting Steppers groups organizations, and they have big sets at the Taste and big sets at the Copper Box, and all I'm hearing from John Q. Public is criticism. Why is he there? But when she reached out to the Steppers community, no one would touch it.
Well, yeah, that sort of behavior is still indicative of what we witnessed today and a lot of the stuff that's happening. So yes, you're absolutely right, and that makes you the pioneer godfather of even that.
Well,
you look, we gonna take a page, you dig, from what you just said, so we can learn how to deal with it. Because it's unfortunate that some people are successful in promoting events and dancing and other things, and others just try and find new ways to shoot them down. And it's unfortunate, but this is just one more of those things we deal with in a social atmosphere. So yeah, it is what it is. Here comes my producer. She's come on. What you say?
Excuse me. I know you got a great producer.
Poppy says she wants you to kind of give us some background, a visual on what the clubs looked like for the audience back in the day when the rooms were packed and all the guys were in there and the stepping was going on. I know it's undescribable, but
no,
if you
no,
can,
it's not
try.
either. No, it's not. If you were at the dungeon on a Sunday afternoon, the walls would
Sweating.
The wall, it was like somebody had poured, like there was no roof on the building and it was raining. The walls of the dungeon would sweat. And dungeon got so popular and so large, we had to do upstairs and downstairs. They could dance up on the first floor and then go to the basement. The dungeon was like I said, it was in the basement. And we outgrew the basement, so we had to use both floors. The Keeman's Club, unbelievable. The Keeman's Club was 3 times the size of the dungeon, standing room only. You talk about what it was like then. Don Juan, I'm using that. I used to have a lot of police officers that worked with me. A lot of those police officers stopped working with me because I catered to Don Juan and his crew. Well, see, Don Juan then was diehard steppers.
That's right.
So I catered to
steppers
them.
and skaters.
Excuse me, world class. I catered, and Don Juan and I talked to Don Juan on the phone for almost an hour last week. I went to St. Louis with Don Juan and Seymour. I went to Detroit. I went all over Cincinnati with Adele Givens, the comedian, and Don Juan and JoJo. I went everywhere. They took me everywhere that they went around the Midwest, And but they were skaters. But it was a situation then, Brian, where if I cater to a certain group more, it seemed like more than other groups. I would get like a feedback or like I say, the guys with the police officers, all my police friends stopped coming to my parties because of Don Juan and them was there. Because Sam, and then I came up with the VIP. Don Juan and was VIP. They had Sam Chatman Hall of Fame Steppers jacket. So they walked in, they didn't have to pay. But they didn't pay because I knew that they were an attraction. I wasn't pushing Sam Chatman, I was pushing them.
Right.
The Players Ball, Don Juan's birthday every year. We did that for ever since the movie The Mac came out.
I was getting ready to say that been going on forever.
And I used to go all over the country, well, the Midwest anyway, with Don Juan for his birthdays, And these were just to describe what was it like at the event. It was today's who's who in the promotion business, and today's who's who on the steppers, on the wood. And believe me, and like I say, these people were legendary dancers, and some of them, the ones that are still with us, are still legendary dancers.
That's what's happening. So, Sam, I understand that you are going to grace our presence down here in the armpit of America, down here in Texas, coming up.
I never heard that before. Armpit of America.
Yeah, it's hot and funky down here.
Okay.
You coming to the Steppermania event, right?
Yes, I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who want to know, Steppermania, we will be in the building for Steppermania March of 2022, 25th, 26th, and 27th, and we will be getting it in. And I promise you, a great time. My man Sam Chatman will be in the building. We're gonna have let's see, Kevin Nevels will be there. The Cat in the Hat will be there. DJ Daryl Smooth Greenwood. Ted Williams is coming through. Who am I missing? Pony Mac. Pony Mac will be in the building. Yeah, we're gonna have a real good time, y'all. Y'all need to come out and check that one out.
It's gonna be nice.
We're gonna have a good time. Sam, now out of curiosity, because I know you don't fly, you driving down to Texas?
I'm driving down. Yes, I mean, my cousin Willie Chatman. We driving down.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
And I would be. I mentioned just slightly mentioned the radio station that I work for.
Okay.
The FM Omni channel. I'm on every Saturday and Sunday from 12 noon to 5. Ramonski Love is on in the morning. And, and I'm doing quite a few events with Ramonski Love right now,
Okay.
And, Troy Tyler, First Lady, and we just have such a great staff.
I haven't seen him in a minute. Unfortunately, last time I saw him was at a family funeral.
Ramonski?
Yeah, I hadn't seen him since then, but yeah.
And he's doing great too. He's really doing great.
That's what's up.
He's doing a great job. We have Brian, let me just say this. FM Omni channel, the radio station, we're in 89 countries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like your show, this show. People relate to this show and they think it's their show. And that's a good thing. I don't mean that.
Yeah, that's a great thing.
Yes, they relate to when I started advertising on Facebook and stuff. These people say, "Well, my people were saying I listen to that all the time. I watch that all the time." So your show is not your show anymore; it's their show, and that's beautiful.
Trust me, it's the only reason I do it. Because some days, I promise you, I come in here and I'll be like, "Oh man."
I know. Yeah,
but I love doing it because I love being able to impart information and try as much as I can to educate those who maybe are not as aware of others, because we got so many people that are new in the steppers world, and I mean just within the last few years and even months. And with all of these new people who come along, you have, unfortunately, we have quite a few unscrupulous individuals in this community, and they lead them astray and they lead them down the wrong paths and give them misinformation. And so it's necessary to have shows like this and people like myself and Reggie Miles and a few others who are willing to try as hard as we can to keep the record straight, to set the record straight and keep it that way. It's hard, but we're gonna keep doing it.
It's extremely hard. And let me just ask one question, and maybe I could ask you. How, I'm talking about you. Let's say you ask me. Mm-hmm. How can I tell you what is old music? How can I fix my mouth to tell you I'm not gonna play, sir? Sir, I will play the Star Spangled Banner if you can step to it. I will play whatever you want. I play blues, I play jazz, I play anything, hip hop. I got several country and western tunes that I play at a step set. And people don't even know they come. What's his name? Chris Isaac, Can't Do a Thing About It, Eddie Rabbit. He's a country and western singer.
Well, but see here again, you got to understand that there are people out here who have been so indoctrinated with learning how to count to 8. They're not only not listening to the music, they're not listening to a beat. They're not listening to the tone and the voice of who's singing. They're not listening to what those songs mean, the melody. They're not getting into it like that. And so unfortunately, that soul in the dance gets lost. And when that happens, as a DJ, you have DJs who literally get up in the box and play for themselves. They're not playing for the people on the floor. They don't even watch the floor. They don't know what's going on down there. They don't care. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
And I hear it all the time. And I'll go to an event and somebody will say, Sam, what the hell are they playing? And I said, I don't know. I wasn't paying no attention. I didn't listen. And I heard it, but I don't want to. I'm not going to get in no conversation with someone about another D. And
right.
what I tell people all the time: if you don't complain, don't go.
Now,
It's just
that
that
part right
simple.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the
I'm not.
bottom line. And people get
I'm not gonna.
upset.
They'll go to an event and sit there and complain all night. Why are you there? You
Right.
know what this guy is gonna do. What they're gonna do. Don't go. And
That's
that
right.
ends.
Because I do
That.
have my favorite DJs. I do have DJs, and as a
Oh,
DJ myself, like I said, I'm a baby in the game. But I took it seriously enough that, and people laughed at me because I wouldn't call myself, and I'll be up there spinning and doing people compliment me and everything. But I would not call myself a DJ out of respect for real DJs until I felt like I could carry a set in a way that left people like, damn. And if you can't do that, you call yourself something else.
I did an event for a couple. This couple hired me then for their job Christmas party. I get to the event and me and my helper get there. We bringing my equipment in, and I see them bringing out food. I said, "Oh," I told him, I said, "Man, I hope they're not going to serve food, right? At the beginning of the party." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Well, they're going to eat and they're going to take another hour to that food digest. And they're going to sit and talk before the party starts." So true enough, it did. So finally, the guy comes over. They cleaned off the table, and him and his wife said, the guy said, "Sam, place up." He gave me a couple of records. That dropped to me. Place packed. They jobbed Christmas party. Nobody danced but him and his wife. I played the second record.
Hey.
Nobody danced but him and his wife. The third record, I went house, old school house music, and the place went up in smoke. And he came after about an hour of house music. He came up to me and said, "Sam, we didn't invite you down here for this. We want you to play some stuff." I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do with these people?
Right.
What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to make them go home? You
That's
got
right.
300 people here. You and your wife, the only steppers in the house. So you want me to play?" He said, and then at the end of the night, he paid me, but he looked like he didn't want to pay me. And look, they made me put a tip jar on my table, and I think I got about $85, $90 in singles and tips from the house head. But him and his wife, they were very, very upset. How can you be that selfish? That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not that, I'm here for the party, not for, one individual or two individuals. I'm trying to please everybody there. And like I say, when I go to an event now, everybody know I'm a Steppers DJ. But I got blues, I got house, I got hip hop.
You have to always be prepared.
All the line dancers, just in case. So I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I know what I want to play, but I'm not gonna play what I want to play if they're not responding.
Hey, a real DJ always come prepared. Especially these days, you ain't got to tote no crates, you ain't got to carry no bunch of stuff. You take a hard drive with all your music and you go to work.
I got 3 of them with me right now.
You know what I'm saying? All the time.
I love it.
All the time.
It's a different. That you know what that makes. Even though I got to carry equipment, but I don't have to carry them crates of records anymore.
That's what I'm talking. Look, man, all them big old crates of wax, you already know what it is. You know what it is.
And that stuff was heavy too.
Shoot. Well, listen, Mr. Sam Chatman.
Yes, sir.
I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I am looking forward to seeing you in March. So we're going to sit down. We're going to chop it up again, except this time we're going to do it live. Because Inside Steppin will be present at Steppomania. And we will be doing the thing, and we will be having a real good time. And we're going to be, we got a bunch of DJs. Some of the coldest DJs I know going to be there. That's going to be live all by itself.
Yes,
so,
sir.
we get to talk music and all of that. So
and you know what I love too? They most of them treat me with the utmost respect, and I appreciate that. But let me just mention this. I mentioned that we're doing Cincinnati, we're doing St. Louis, we're doing Washington D.C. with Sheldon Brown. We're doing all of these events as Atlanta the first Friday in August.
Okay.
And some people ask me, how and why are you doing? Because this is what I love to do.
Because it's what you do.
And not just do, but this is what I love to do. I mean, I enjoy people. I enjoy. I'm not a Smokey Robinson, although I wanted to be. I'm not this Eddie Kendricks, although I wanted. I'm not Luther Vandross, although I wanted to be. But
You know, you just touched on something though, Sam, that I think is critically important, and I'm glad you said it before we get out of here tonight. Your love for what you do. Do you understand that there are a lot of people that are in this game now who think that monetarily somehow they're going to get some sort of a windfall? The reason Inside Steppin exists is for the same reason you love what you do. Because we love this culture. We love the history of this culture. We love the people in this culture. We love this dance. And the fact is, we do what we do out of love. That makes the world go round.
yes, it does. Yes, it does. And you know what? And I will continue to do it as long as I love it. Love of the music. And you know, I keep emphasizing the music. But you know, Brian, I have to emphasize I also love the dancers. I love them. And you know, and sometimes people will walk up to me and they'll say things to me that just totally inspire me. You know, the young lady I was doing a wedding Saturday, and the young lady says she was from Las Vegas, and she says, "Sam, they love you in Vegas." And I said, "Well, I love Vegas too, you know." But I mean, you know, I tried to play it off like you know what, but that will stick with me for a while. When people say, and even people that can't that they claim to be legendary steppers who can't walk across the street without falling on the face. They'll come up to me and they'll say something to me, and I'll say something encouraging to them. So I'll say, Sam, tell this guy I'm one of the world's best. I'll say, yes, you are. And then somebody will say, Sam, is he really that good? I say, well, he said he was. You know, I'm not here to contradict. I'm not here to cross you like that. If that's what you think, that's what you
right.
are. You know,
Speaking of Vegas, y'all, we gonna be in Vegas here this month, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Y'all, we gonna be at Stepping Out of Africa, and yours truly will be on the ones and twos for the Sunday set. So y'all come out to Vegas and kick it with us. Inside Stepping, we'll be in the building.
I'm looking forward to being there with you and your lovely. So don't forget, keep spreading the word, sir.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, man. Sam. Look, man, wait a minute, hold on. Oh, okay. My producer, here she is again. She keep coming in here with this is how she do me, you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
can't never get on camera. She wants to talk about, she wants you to just give us a brief overview on the fashion back in the day.
Well, excuse me. I'll give you an example. Back in the day, I didn't allow gym shoes at my set.
Ooh, say that again. Say that again. No gym shoes.
Gym shoes at my set. Now this is in there. Now we eased up that in the late '90s. We eased up on the gym shoe thing in the '90s. But in the beginning, because 90% of the ladies that came to my sets wore heels.
Right.
And here's another thing. You're talking about the fashion. Guys will see a lady at a stepper set in the '70s and '80s had on flats. They wouldn't even ask her to dance because they figured she couldn't dance.
Huh.
They figured she couldn't dance because she had on flats.
Ain't that
Ladies
something?
wore heels. And you know, they were stockings, pantyhose, or whatever they were wearing then. And they were sharp. And the guys came to the sets. They would go to Shine King and get their shoes spit shine to come to the stepper set because I emphasize the shoes.
Man. That's one of the things I miss about Chicago.
Oh, man.
Getting a good shoe shine, Jack.
Well, you know, we have the best here. Shine King on the west side, the best side.
Casper Perry came on here. He said he can't step. That's what he told me.
Who?
He told me to tell you he can't step.
Casper is one of the originals. Casper not only was a great stepper, he was a great skater also. So
well, you know, Casper tricked me, man. I didn't know Casper was as old as he is. I found out about me and him got to talking one day. I didn't realize he was that old. Casper, okay.
Casper's up there. He got some miles, you know. But you know what?
He wearing it well. He looked good, Jack.
Oh, he looked very good. He looked very good. He went through some health issues for a minute, and he was lucky. He was able to bounce back. And,
absolutely.
Also a good friend. And Casper started stepping with me when he was maybe around 18, 19, 20 or something like that. You know.
Mm-hmm.
We go way back. You know. And the reason I'm on Twitch on Mondays and Thursdays is Casper set it up for me. He advised me because Facebook would cut me off and da.
Yeah.
Casper advised me to go to Twitch, so I owe him that.
My man, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Doggone it was something else. Well, okay. So anyway, I'm gonna say this: Mr. Chatman.
Oh, yes, sir.
They don't beat me up, Mr.
Uh-uh.
Chatman.
Next, not today, but when I
I
come
want
down
you.
there.
Yeah, I know. I'll be dodging you at the set. I want to tell you thank you, not only for taking the time to spend with me here this evening, but for doing all that you've done. I'm gonna say thank you on behalf of the entire Steppers world. Without you, where would we be right now? No, real talk. You know, go ahead. You got something to say?
Yeah, I just want to add. You asked me something earlier, and I didn't get a chance to really expound on it like I wanted to.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. What made me during the disco era?
Mm-hmm.
During that disco era, don't get me wrong. I love Saturday Night Fever and Bee Gees and Tavares and all that music. To Tramp. I love that music. I played that music, but I just felt that there was a segment of people during that disco era that didn't want to do that. You know, now all of my DJs, my proteges, Terrible Ted, Al McCormick, J. Minor Allen, they all went house music and hot mixing. And I wouldn't go. They came to my house to teach me how to hot mix. I said, no, sir. And they said, well, why don't you want to learn how
said,
to
not
mix?
me, mister.
No. Let me tell you what my reason for not wanting to mix. I can't mix and talk. And I told him point blank, I can't mix. I'm one of the original talking DJs. You know,
right.
You got guys that right now that you can go to on a set where they don't utter a word. They don't. Now, I want you to know. I want to be able to look at your. And I don't mean your wife, but I want to be able to look at your lady and say, "Man, what a beautiful beautiful shoes." I'm not talking about her shoes. I'm talking about beautiful set of legs. Or she got a beautiful shape. Or I may compliment her beautiful dress or outfit.
Right.
And the reason that I do that is because I want to emphasize how nice she was, and then the other steppers will follow suit. They'll say, Sam was talking about this lady's dress. I got that dress at home. And you know what? Next party, she got that same dress on too. But, you know, those are the things that I would like to emphasize. Just not the fact that I'm just talking. I'm trying to pass on some information or to inspire somebody.
That's right. Sam, Kim Bowie said, what's happening? He chimed in on us.
Kim Bowie is one of my original steppers.
Yeah, that's my guy right there, man. Me and Kim, he was scheduled to come on the show, man, and we had some challenges, so we're gonna get that together and we're gonna make it happen real soon.
My man.
Him and Pat over tell Pat we pulling for, and also Casper, just so you know, sir, you up next. I'm gonna be reaching out to you real quick here, so you just be ready for that. You know, we talked. We gonna talk some more. So, Sam, man, I'm like, you know, I don't. Like I was saying, I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. Do not forget, join Twitch. If you want to listen to Sam Chatman do his thing, y'all need to join Twitch. Sam, what's giving the schedule for your show?
Mondays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 9. Mondays and Thursdays on Twitch.
Monday to Thursday, 6:30 to 9. Y'all heard that. Y'all need to come on.
Sundays on the FM Omni channel from 12 noon to 5. In 89 countries all over the world.
Now, y'all want to listen to some real Steppers music? Tune in to Sam Chatman on his show on Twitch, y'all. Go on Twitch and join and subscribe to his channel. And y'all don't forget, for my YouTube users, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Do not forget to do that for me, because that helps me to keep this show rolling. We need to make sure we get all the props we can get from wherever we can get them from in the Steppers world.
Would you say that again? What button is that they got to hit?
They got to hit that subscribe button.
Thank you very much.
Subscribe button. Yeah, you got to subscribe. You got to join the club. Walk the walk with us. And we're going to talk the talk with you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. Now, you said thank you for being, no, thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. And if I passed on any knowledge, it was my pleasure.
Man, listen, you passed on plenty of knowledge. You reinforced what some of us already know, and you enlightened others. And for that, sir, I thank you.
You're welcome, 100%.
Sam,
let's go to work.
That's right. And you have a fantastic evening. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it right here first. Let's go to work.
Let's go to work.
All right, Sam, we gone, man. You take care, buddy. I'm going to talk to you again real soon.
All right, let's go to work.
Peace.
Peace. I can click off now, can I?
Yes, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all, the legendary, the man, the myth, the legend, Sam Chatman, the Godfather of Steppin, the man that kept Steppin alive when Steppin was trying to die. You just got a chance to listen to him do his thing. We're going to have future interviews with him as well. This is not a one-shot deal, so y'all be ready. Because again, one of the things that we are most interested in as far as the Steppin community is concerned is to get rid of the misnomers, get rid of the confusion, get rid of the nonsense, stop all the lies, and begin to put things in their proper perspective and in the place where they belong in Steppin, and move forward with knowledge and increased love for the thing that we all enjoy the most. Real talk. Because, I mean, you know, y'all, we don't spend all this money dressing and flying and all the other things that we do to be a part of this dance. Because ultimately, all it really amounts to is us hitting that wood. Period. That's what this all boils down to, being able to get our dance on. So I want all of y'all to keep that in mind. And while you're thinking about that, I want you to not forget that we're going to also be in Phoenix for Jewels and Gents, y'all. That's the 4th annual from April 8th through the 10th, 2022. We will be in the building kicking it real hard. So y'all get ready for that. My girl Angie Fain doing her thing over there. And matter of fact, y'all, Angie Fain will be on Inside Steppin on next Tuesday. So be ready for that, 7 o'clock sharp. She's coming through to promote her event as well as give us some insight and knowledge. Now, a lot of y'all don't know who Angie Fain is, but I'm going to just tell you, Angie Fain is one of those who goes way back. She was one of the people who pioneered taking the dance outside of Chicago. So y'all get ready for that. It's going to be a fantastic interview. And for those of you who really are adventurous, you need to go ahead and get on a plane and come on down to Phoenix with us on April 8th through the 10th and kick it. And because it's going to be, she got a great card. I mean, there's going to be some really fly people there. So if y'all want to know, check out the flyer. Go to Angie Fain's page. Jewels and Gents, y'all. Come on down. And I'm going to just save the rest for next week because she'll be on the show. She's coming through and she's going to show up and show out. So y'all get ready for my girl. In the meantime, I want to thank everyone for coming out, and I especially want to thank my man Sam Chatman. And we had some technical difficulties coming into the show, and it was a trip, but we made it, and that is all that matters. And I think we both probably learned a thing or two in the process. So with all of that said, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, y'all. Again, don't forget Steppomania. We're going to be in Houston doing that. I just want to say, man, I thank all y'all for coming and kicking it with us and hanging out and making this show as popular as it has been and is becoming even more so. I want to thank y'all for just being my friends. I know that was corny. Anyway, y'all know I don't know how to act. Man, love y'all. I want everybody to have yourselves a wonderful evening, have a prosperous week, and look forward to the weekend so you can hit that wood. Even though I know some places it sets all over the place every night. We don't get to live like that over here. Not here in Texas, at least not here in San Antonio. Let me put it like that. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the subscribe button. I want y'all to have a good night. And we out of here. Peace.